I let her take the blame, because it was easier for everyone. The first time my name came up in the complaint meeting, my manager glanced at me and then kept talking, like he'd already decided I wasn't the problem. That's when I knew someone else was going to be. I didn't understand the full situation yet. I just felt the shift in the room, the way eyes moved past me instead of toward me, the way relief settled, quiet and collective. It was a closed-door meeting, small enough that every breath felt audible. HR, my manager, a director, and 2 people from our team. The issue was a missed deadline that had cost the department a client. Not catastrophic, but serious enough to trigger process review language and calendar blocks marked as mandatory. I should have been nervous. I was the one who'd signed off on the timeline. But as the conversation unfolded, the narrative started bending away from me in slow, almost polite increments. Well, communication might have broken down, someone said. And there was some confusion around ownership, someone else added. Then my manager said her name, Lena. She wasn't in the room. Lena was newer, quiet, the kind of competent that doesn't announce itself. She did her work, asked questions, and didn't push back unless she was certain. And in this version of events, she was the gap, the missing link. The reason expectations weren't met. No one outright accused her. That would have required evidence. They just framed everything around her role. I didn't correct them. At the time, I told myself it wasn't my place, that leadership was drawing conclusions based on information I didn't have, that stepping in would complicate things. But even then, I knew the truth was simpler and uglier. I'd rushed the timeline. 2 weeks earlier, I'd told Lena the deliverable could wait, that we had buffer, that I'd handle the client-side communication. Then I got pulled into something else, then something else after that. By the time I remembered the deadline, it was already past the point where an apology would fix it. I didn't tell Lena I'd changed priorities. I didn't loop her back in. I assumed I could smooth it over. I couldn't. When the client escalated, leadership wanted a reason. And reasons look better when they come with a name that isn't yours. After the meeting, my manager pulled me aside. "Don't worry," he said quietly. "We're just going to coach her through expectations." I nodded. That nod did more damage than anything else I could have said. Lena found out the next day. Not officially, not in a meeting. Someone mentioned it in passing, like it was common knowledge. She came to my desk that afternoon, holding a notebook like it was armor. "Hey," she said, "can I ask you something?" I said yes, already knowing what it would be. "They're saying I didn't flag the deadline," she said, not accusing, just confused. Did I miss something? There was a moment there, a clean one. I could have said, "No, you didn't. That's on me." Instead, I hesitated, just long enough to break it. "I think there was some misalignment," I said. "The timeline shifted a bit." She looked at me, processing that. "I was waiting on your go-ahead," she said. "You said it wasn't urgent." I nodded again. "I probably should have been clearer," I said. "Probably." She didn't argue. She didn't push. She just said, "Okay," and went back to her desk. That was the last easy moment. After that, the atmosphere around her changed. Her manager started checking in more. Her work got reviewed more closely. Feedback that used to be casual became documented. Nothing dramatic, just pressure applied evenly, persistently. I told myself it was temporary, that once the dust settled, things would normalize. But pressure rarely does that. 2 weeks later, Lena was put on a performance improvement plan. It was framed gently, supportive, development-focused. She showed it to me in the break room, her voice low. "I don't understand how this happened," she said. "I've never missed anything before." I looked at the document. The language was careful, but the implication was clear. She needed to prove herself again. And I was the benchmark. "They want me to own communication, more proactively," she said, "even when timelines change." I swallowed. "That's probably good feedback," I said. It sounded reasonable, neutral, safe. It sounded like something someone uninvolved would say. She nodded slowly. "I guess." After that, she stopped asking me questions. Not out of spite, out of caution. She documented everything, followed up every conversation with an email, CC'd people she never had before. Leadership like that. Good growth, my manager said once. She's learning. But learning under suspicion isn't growth. It's survival. I watched it happen in small ways. The way she'd rehearse before speaking in meetings. The way she'd hesitate before sending messages. The way she'd stay late, not because there was more work, but because leaving on time felt risky. And every time I thought about stepping in, the same calculation ran through my head. If I spoke up now, it would look defensive, or strategic, or like I was undermining leadership. It might not even help her. It might just raise questions about why I'd waited. So I stayed quiet. 3 months later, Lena resigned. No announcement, no farewell email. Just a calendar invite cancelled and a desk cleared. Someone said she'd found a better fit. Someone else said she wasn't cut out for the pace. No one mentioned the missed deadline anymore. The story had been resolved. Except it hadn't. A week after she left, I found a folder on our shared drive labeled with her name. Inside was a timeline document. Detailed, time-stamped, clear. It showed exactly when she'd flagged the task, exactly when I deprioritized it, exactly when the window closed. It was all there. She'd been protecting herself, quietly, just in case. I closed the folder and sat there longer than I needed to. Part of me wanted to forward it to someone, anyone. But what would that do now? She was gone. The client was gone. The narrative was settled. The only thing it would change was how people looked at me. And I didn't know if I was ready for that. So I left the folder where it was. Sometimes I wonder if Lena thinks I betrayed her, or if she thinks the system did, or if she's already moved on, carrying a quieter version of this story somewhere else. At work, things improved for me. I got more responsibility, more trust. Eventually, a promotion. No one ever referenced the incident directly again. But sometimes, when I give feedback to someone newer, I hear my own words echo back in ways I don't like. About ownership, about clarity, about being proactive. And I wonder how much of my confidence is built on a moment I chose not to speak. I don't think I'm a villain. I don't think Lena was naive. I think we were both operating inside incentives that rewarded silence and punished disruption. But knowing that doesn't quiet the tension. It just gives it context. Every once in a while, I consider reaching out, apologizing, explaining. Then I imagine how that would land years later from someone who benefited from her exit. And I stop, because some truths don't resolve anything. They just shift the weight, and I'm not sure I know where that weight should fall.